Hello and welcome to Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics. This is Cyrus, and I know it's been a little while since I've had any videos out there. They have been slowing down. I am in Mikliot Ganj, arguably the center of Buddhism in India, if not this part of Asia. And Wi-Fi speeds are not optimal. It takes me 6 to 7 hours to upload these videos. Combine that with the fact I am, as you can see, in a hostel that is very often fully populated by people, including locals who I think are just using the hostel as a cheap place to stay while they look for work in this mountain city. So I haven't exactly had the privacy to do many videos as well. But I'm working on it, getting back in the swing of things, hopefully. And in this video, I'm talking about the concept of galactic reincarnation. It's very interesting. So, being in this town, doing some work for the local magazine, and also teaching Tibetans English and interacting with many locals, I have been reintroduced to many concepts of Buddhist philosophy, in particular Tibetan Buddhism. And coming at this now from a perspective of objective afterlife research, it is interesting how I can really relate to certain things that Buddhist scholars have to say, and I also find other elements to be just utterly wrong. And I will pick apart some of these things maybe in future videos, but for now I want to engage in something that I at least find interesting, credible, lines up with spiritual sources of information, and most interestingly, this same topic came up on the Afterlife Topics Facebook group not so long ago. And interestingly, I pick up this book in a cafe, open up the first page, and there is an explanation of the subject that had come up. So let's talk about that. And it comes from a book called Become Your Own Therapist, which is a novel idea. Who wouldn't want to do that? By a Buddhist teacher named Lama Yeshe, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So it's an interesting book filled with combinations of, I think, very possibly factual spiritual information, as well as a lot of Buddhist doctrine and dogma about reincarnation, which I not only disagree with but mildly resent. But for now, I want to focus on the positive and talk about this very interesting explanation. Real quick, before we jump into that, you are watching Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics. If you like these kind of podcast style videos that you can listen to while you're driving or while you're at the gym or whatever it might be, then please hit that subscribe button, as the actions by you help keep this channel going in a climate of fear produced by YouTube, clamping down on any channel that goes against the mainstream narrative. Difficult to get channels out there, difficult to keep them going. Your help by punching the subscribe, hitting that notification bell, hitting a like, leaving a comment, engaging with the video, all that really helps. To continue. So this is from, I don't know which page exactly, I think it was page 40 something, but it says, Q, how does Buddhism explain the population explosion? If you believe in reincarnation, how is it that the population is expanding all the time? Lama Yeshe responds, that's simple. Like modern science, Buddhism talks about the existence of billions and billions of galaxies. The consciousness of a person born on Earth may have come from a galaxy far away, drawn here by the force of karma. Excuse me. I have a cotton mouth and need to stay hydrated. Drawn here by the force of karma, which connects that person's mental energy to this planet. On the other hand, the consciousness of a person dying on this earth may, at the time of death, be karmically directed to rebirth in another galaxy far from here. If more minds are being drawn to Earth, the population increases. If fewer, it declines. That does not mean that brand new minds are coming into existence. Each mind taking rebirth here on Earth has come from its previous life, perhaps in another galaxy, perhaps on Earth itself, but not from nowhere, in accordance with the cyclic nature of worldly existence. Wow. So let's pick this apart a little bit. Interestingly, I haven't gone that deep into reincarnation on this channel because sometimes it can be a very weighty topic that uh, sometimes aggravates people, sometimes leads to very hostile reactions. And so I steer around it while recognizing it exists. And in my first book, I do talk about the work of Ian Stevenson, the University of Virginia researcher who has had more or less proven the existence of reincarnation and was able to do so with physical evidence, birthmarks, and chronicling past life memories of children born often at the same moment that a different person, perhaps in the same village, has died. So I do believe in reincarnation, but my biggest issue with reincarnation concerns the way that it has turned into an orthodox fundamentalist belief system via the well intentioned and wonderful world of Buddhism, which unfortunately I firmly believe sends people off course by adhering to this as a kind of dogma. And in this chapter, in this page actually, just above this page, there's a different question where Lama Yeshe responds by mentioning something to the effect that time between incarnations can be anywhere from 7 weeks to, or rather 7 days to 40 weeks, or some very specific number like that, which again I find highly questionable. So the preoccupation with reincarnation I do not agree with. We can go to these astral conditions where I think reincarnation is completely optional, and karma, which I do believe in, occurs in such a way via free will. If you feel because of your actions, because of what you've done to other people, that you cannot possibly live with yourself unless you make amends somehow for those mistakes or things you've done when you were in a life on the earth plane, then you can very much decide to reincarnate. And also, many seem to reincarnate in a way that does not interrupt their astral existences, where they can exist there and then exist here simultaneously. And then those two lives merge back together when the life on this plane finishes. This is the way I see it based upon my research. Buddhism is very disjointed. It splits things apart in different groups. And some believe in it like I described it, and some believe that there is no astral plane or afterlife as we know it. There is only reincarnation to look forward to until we transcend beyond reincarnation, merging with some higher consciousness. Again, I think this is a very inaccurate perspective. So I'm not so sure if Lama Yeshe is coming at this from an accurate perspective, but I think that he might be getting at something logical here, which is that a soul is not bound to this world. There are billions of galaxies, and each galaxy is unfathomably big. So there's a virtually infinite amount of incarnations to consider in the cosmos, and certainly we are being visited at this moment by probably countless civilizations. Just look right now in the news about how currently the U.S. Air Force and the U.S. Navy is creating new protocols to allow pilots to report their encounters with unidentified aerial phenomena, as they call it. And one official from that program, former Assistant Defense Secretary, has pointed out that extraterrestrials are one of the primary hypotheses for the phenomena. So it's, the cat's out of the bag. We know that there's ETs, and we know that the universe is way too vast for there not to be ETs. So that being said, there's no reason that we would be confined to this world. Different energies must fluctuate and push us to different conditions depending on what we're looking for, what kind of incarnation we want. And this means that there is a never-ending supply of souls. So there is no great mystery about where a population explosion comes from or where you get the souls. In fact, it's a very Earth-centric point of view to wonder how it's possible for new souls to come in. I've noticed people asking this question haven't quite opened their mind to the concept of there being a universe that is teeming with life. Not everybody has gotten over that hump of accepting that as a possibility. So, so it's very interesting the way this is described. Again, the consciousness of a person born on Earth may have come from a galaxy far away, drawn here by the force of karma. So, maybe I'll do more videos about this, but how do you reconcile the Buddhist concepts that the afterlife just consists of reincarnation, or it isn't as we imagine it to be? Well, there's different perspectives. This is one book that seemed to be more on a dogmatic level, but I've also read accounts from Tibetan Buddhists and had discussions with them about astral conditions that they are very, very much aware of. So it can be such a mixed bag, which is very frustrating. But one way that I can reconcile it is by thinking about it as where an incarnation is not merely being incarnated on the earth plane. We could make an argument that an incarnation on the astral plane is also an incarnation, right? No, not to sound too redundant, an incarnation is an incarnation. I guess what I mean to say is the existence of yourself in an astral form, living in an astral civilization as yourself, is the continuation of an incarnation. It doesn't just end on the earth plane. And when Buddhists say transcending incarnation, they mean not just on the earth plane, but also on the astral spectrum, leading up to some higher dimensional entity or higher dimensional state of existence. So that kind of makes sense to me and puts into perspective, and certainly some Buddhists, and definitely I know Hindus believe that concept, because how do you reconcile these different things? So that's one way that I am able to wrap my mind around this, and also forgive some of these elements of Buddhism that I quite strongly disagree with. But also, that is not always what Buddhists believe either, because the connections between the objective afterlife, objective spiritual worlds, don't always connect with Buddhism. Buddha himself called subjects like life after death to be unknowables, things that we shouldn't be focusing on because it's chasing your own tail. You can't always come to a conclusion. People just argue about it. So, let's focus on the here and now, improving our lives and raising our consciousness and such concepts here in this world. So the Buddha himself said that, to greatly paraphrase. And so as a result, the afterlife, while recognized by many Buddhists, is not prioritized. Although in a field that involves intense meditation, it's clear many Buddhists begin having experiences on the other side and can recognize that. So that's about all I have to say about this subject, galactic reincarnation. Very interesting stuff. Makes sense to me in terms of where souls come from. I'd argue not just this universe, but souls could inhabit countless countless different spectrums of the multiverse. And when there's a new baby about to get born, it's almost like there's just a never-ending supply of possibly even competition to get that spot and to get that incarnation that maybe possibly many souls want to get. If you like this video, please consider becoming a patron at afterlifetopics.com rather patreon.com/afterlifetopics. YouTube denied monetizing this channel, and I rely on patrons and people joining classes to help make this work as a project that will hopefully keep going into new territories. But I also have to be able to eat and survive while working on these types of things as a nearly full-time endeavor, as I help moderate the main group, make videos, and research, stay attuned to the goings on, and also writing as well. And so any help with that area is appreciated. You can also join the group at Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics on Facebook. Well, thanks for watching. Hope this helped illuminate some new possibilities, and hopefully I can get some more videos out there. And I'm gonna look forward to now beginning the 6-hour process of uploading this on YouTube. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching and supporting this channel. We'll talk more about these subjects coming up. Until next time, this is Cyrus with Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics.